I honestly can't remember a time in wrestling where there's been so much nut stuff to continually talk about, but Raw just went and Britney Spears it because oops, we did it again. Now, first and foremost, make sure you check out the best new t-shirt that I'll ever do. I don't know how much you can see on the screen, but it's basically a picture of me and it says Baldy underneath in the Aldi font. No one will tell Aldi, they get mad. You can get this if you're an American at ProWrestlingTees.com. I mean, you can buy that in Europe as well. But I also have a simonmiller.bigcartel.com store for you to keep postage costs down. Again, it's all in the description down there. But let's not worry about that with my cheap pimping because, yeah, the main event of Raw this week was CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in a steel cage. Dare I say this? I think I do. The hate that some people in WWE seem to have for Punk, whether it's real or fabricated, is turning these programs into some wonderful, wonderful stuff. Again, please ignore my speech. I bit my tongue. Again, watch yesterday's video or check out Ups and Downs over at What Culture. Make sure you subscribe to them and subscribe to me and interact with the video. But it was the same with Drew, and now it's the same with Seth. It's so easy to buy into because you can just be like, yep, they definitely dislike each other. But of course, there has to be some, I guess, not mutual respect, but some kind of bonding there because, you know, breaking kayfabe, they will be in the back talking to each other and planning things and saying, hey, Triple H, what should we do? But I just love the way the cage match was executed. I mean, it wasn't as brutal as the Drew McIntyre one, but nor should it be, because these things should be graded on a scale. So normal match is sort of like, there's violence to it. Cage match is extra violence. Then Hell in a Cell is death violence, and you take it from there. But I love the fact that it was worked that way, to talk like a proper business person, in the sense that Seth Rollins just tried to beat up CM Punk. He probably could have won the match or tried to escape, but he didn't. So CM Punk then just beat him up. They were hitting finishers. Everybody was kicking out. And ultimately, at the end of the match, before we got our storyline angle, you can argue, and I think this will be the point, that Seth Rollins had the match won after the super stomp, but instead of going for the cover or again going out the door, he kind of just sat there and took it all in. And look, there's so many ways to justify it. Maybe he was a bit worn out. Maybe he didn't know what to do because, again, it's like Star Wars. His rage is overcoming him, which I love the fact. I think this could be my favorite thing about it. Obviously, you'll know by now. You would have seen the thumbnail, and I'm sure you would have seen it all over social media, or you would have watched Raw. Roman Reigns returned, and whoever's decision it was not to play the music, well done. Pat yourself on the back like Barry Horowitz, because he rarely does that. And you heard the murmurings, you heard the noise in Madison Square Garden, and then he just teleported in. He wrecked Seth Rollins, was going to crush his head on Simba the Steel Steps as revenge for everything that happened at Royal Rumble. And yeah, sure, all the officials came down to try and stop this. Way too late, by the way. When Roman spares into the ring, he sees CM Punk and Paul Heyman, and Paul's like, CM Punk, you're my friend as well. Roman can't handle that because that's his wife. He gets in the ring. He speared CM Punk so hard. Raw goes off air with Roman Reigns returning to WWE and standing tall. I just loved everything about this. I mean, it now ties into everything that we expected. I mean, the Royal Rumble basically told us that. It will be CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41. And I love it. I truly, truly do. I think that match has jeopardy. You also have the outlier of Paul Heyman. Is he going to lie with Punk? Is he going to lie with Roman Reigns? Do you want to push Seth Rollins to win that match? Because he certainly deserved it. And Seth Rollins has kind of stepped over into old school pro wrestling Seth Rollins now. Like, he still has the music. He still dresses a bit like the Macho Man, or whoever you want to compare him to. But his work and his promos are gritty and horrible, and he means all this stuff. And you could totally buy into him. And listen, understand. You always see it on the internet, like, oh, what a stupid finish. Because Roman Reigns pulled him out of the cage, which meant he technically won. That's wrestling, man. That's why I love it the most. And of course, you're allowed to think it's totally dumb. But I never want that to go away in wrestling, especially WWE, who likes to lean into, be it someone getting eliminated from the Royal Rumble and then getting back in and throwing somebody else out, or what set up this cage match, Seth Rollins being eliminated in the Elimination Chamber. And the clue was in the name, and he just came back and he attacked CM Punk. And I was like, oh, well, you dastardly animal, how dare you do this? But given that we are on the road to WrestleMania, and they're about to do their big European tour, it probably was the right time to pull the trigger. It's the 11th of March as I'm talking to you, so still got a good 5 weeks, whatever the flub it is, until WrestleMania 41. So there'll be twists and turns and lefts and rights and ups and downs, obviously. I would know all about that, but it feels fun, it feels exciting, and again, you can make a case for anybody to win at WrestleMania. And what do we do after the fact? Given that SummerSlam is 2 nights, are we going to use this in order to do Seth versus Roman one-on-one at that SummerSlam and finally put that to bed properly? Because you do need the singles match before you can do that. 11 years in the making after Seth Rollins turned heel. Just CM Punk win, just start a feud with John Cena after John Cena potentially beats Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. It was just so well done. And again, I think I'd have to go back and watch what he was doing in 2012, whenever the flub it was. 2011, probably. No, 2012, because the summer of Punk was totally ruined, not by him. I really do think this is some of CM Punk's best work, and absolutely up there with some of the stuff stuff he did in AEW. I just think the gritty old veteran, especially off the back of the promo he cut last week, you just can't fault it. And because Seth Rollins does have genuine beef, he's raised his game. Roman Reigns just has the presence, the cinema, the aura, to use the internet for speakers. I like an absolute idiot by doing that. But I just loved it, and it was just entertaining, and they all come across like such big stars. That makes it feel all the more important, which was very similar to the Cody Rhodes promo. Of course, it makes sense to have Cody on Raw or SmackDown. It's totally dumb because there's meant to be this big dividing line, but I don't care. I mean, I'd rather they didn't do the draft and all the trading anyway. But John Cena, The Rock, John Cena is there next week, but they are going to be sporadic for a little while, so you want Cody to carry the ball. He just comes out there and he says everything that you would want him to say. Like, he talks about how he loves John Cena and how, John Cena is the guy, and he's a little bit hurt that it's going to be Cody that stops him from getting from number 17 when it comes to the World Championships. But ultimately, he is going to do that. He's the captain now. He's going to whoop John Cena's ass at WrestleMania. Now, we'll do a stupidly early predictions video soon. I think John Cena probably is going to win, which makes it even more fun. Just because I don't think you should pull the trigger on the John Cena heel turn and then not follow it through. I think that's massively important. But either way, Cody is the man. So it's not going to matter. But they are going to have their face-off next week in Brussels, Belgium. Why wouldn't you do it there? Just as an awesome place to do it. Like, this is why WWE going overseas more makes it way more fun. Because they used to announce European tours. And you never thought you were going to get something that big. So doing that first angle there, that's a huge thumbs up. And when John Cena drops that nice speech, I have a conniption because it means he's about to roast Cody Rhodes. But Cody can take it, and I just think he's just doing a fantastic job. And he's making me invest, and he's making me double guess it. And of course, the audience here, it's Madison Square Garden. WWE does listen to those crowds a lot. You did have a lot of booing for John Cena, which then turned into Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks chants. But unlike 10 years ago, it's the voices have changed. So the kids are now saying that he sucks, and the older guys are saying that let's go Cena. It's brilliant. John Cena was GOAT material anyway. I don't think you could have argued it. But now he's turned the game on its head so much, I refuse to, even if you wanted to debate it, I'd be like, no, I refuse. John Cena is one of the modern day GOATs. So you should check out the Cody promo. It's not that long. That black eye is still absolutely horrendous. So I hope he is okay. But he genuinely comes across as a man that has been slanted here. Is that the right word? I don't know. But he's hurt. He's upset. And he can't believe The Rock and John Cena did this. And again, that's going to be your like 2 WrestleMania main event. Another one you can argue it either way. I mean, is The Rock going to be there? Is Travis Scott going to be there? You should check out what Seth Rollins said about him the other day in an interview. Seth Rollins taking no prisoners. But just 2 excellent segments. They weren't back-to-back. Cody was like in the middle of the show and CM Punk and Seth Rollins main evented. But then, in between all that, you had the Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair stuff. If that gets enough momentum, which it certainly could do, it could also be the main event if we go on the whole Triple H, well, I put the thing in the main event that has the most fire at the time. Because you have Io Sky being like, oh man, I did it, what a wonderful thing. I now get to go to WrestleMania. Bianca Belair comes out like, oh, this is great. I won the chamber. We can do a one-on-one. When Rhea zooms out, it's like, excuse me, the only reason I'm not the champion is because you were watching Bianca Belair, which you have no business doing. Why don't you go handle all the nonsense with Jade and Naomi? That was also on SmackDown too. We didn't get to talk about it. And then Bianca fires back, you just didn't think you could beat Io Sky. And then basically there's a lot of insults going towards Io Sky, but this is a babyface. This is our champion. So Io Sky just punched them both in the face and she leaves. Now, we will do the triple threat match at WrestleMania. So we should do that on the Sunday if we're doing the Roman Reigns one on the Saturday, which probably means it isn't going to main event. But, I mean, does that really matter? Probably not. But you know what I'm saying. Depending what happens in the next few weeks, like Io Sky is so over. She just punched Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, who at the moment are 2 massive baby faces, and she got cheers all around. Rhea Ripley got a massive pop. Bianca Belair did too, and Bianca Belair is so damn good. And maybe some people are thinking, is she going to turn heel? Because we need to see what's going to happen with the Jade Cargill, Naomi stuff. I know that sounds like a crazy thing to say after the SmackDown row. Maybe it was a ruse. We've seen that in WWE before. They put on a performance, and then maybe that ties into WrestleMania. Bianca Belair wins when Naomi helps her, and they can be like, ha ha ha, we planned this since the start, and they can be a couple of comic book villains, which I'm actually not against. I think that's a very fun thing to do. Rhea Ripley, especially here, I loved, because she just got to be Rhea Ripley, which is a dumb thing to say, but she's shouting, she's mad, she's pissed off, she comes across as legitimate, she comes across as real, and that authenticity is so important in promos right now. I think it's what people look for. And they're all just great. Like, they're all at the top of the division. It's exactly what you should do. Like, how are we going to fit Rhea Ripley into the 3-way, given it is meant to be a one-on-one match? I don't know, but there's loads of ways to do it. Io Sky could be the person to do it now and be like, I don't like all this. You're saying there's an asterisk next to my name because of Bianca Belair doing that stuff. Well, let's go to WrestleMania 41 and I'll whip both your asses, and I wouldn't mind that too, just on the down low. If it was Io Sky winning after beating those 2 guys, that would be fantastic as well. So again, all these 3 things, now we're outside the other side of the chamber pay-per-view PLE. You can see it's all coming together, and I think it's really good. And some of it's surprising, the John Cena heel turn, and some of it is pretty obvious. I think we did a video on this, people being like, oh, I'm a bit disappointed with it. Let's see where we're going to get to, because there's still going to be a bunch of twists and turns. I think we're setting up AJ Styles versus Logan Paul, because obviously the stuff with comedian Andrew Schultz, who has a Netflix special, WWE Loves Celebrities, and I don't mind that, but they're so long, you could maybe do it on Raw and then bring somebody else into this. It will be a great match. AJ Styles has amazing matches with anybody. AJ Styles is another guy, modern day GOAT, does so much over the last 25 years. He had an amazing match with Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, so he can easily do it with Logan Paul. So I don't mind that. The Braun Breaker and Finn Balor match is happening next week, which is why I think it may get some crossover here. I don't know. And we continue to plant the seeds with the Judgment Day, because Dominic Mysterio got Finn Balor the match, and Liv was like, why are you doing that? So they can fall out. And speaking of that, the only thing, it probably was the only thing I was slightly negative on, was the Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley match. No problem with those two being number one contender for the IC Championship. One, why? I have no idea. That was a proper, stuff just happens. But also, Raquel winning and now facing Lyra next week. I mean, Lyra's just not on the show enough anyway. She just did an interview here. And I felt the match didn't have the crowd participation as much as other stuff, because there's no reason for people to care. WWE hasn't given that to you yet. The thing is, I get a bee in my bonnet about tag team champions going after singles titles. Sometimes it's totally fine. But Raquel and Liv have been so good. Well, not so good, but the match they had to win those belts was so good. And then we haven't really had a follow-up. It's almost like they don't care and they've forgotten about them. And that's me putting assumptions onto them, which I shouldn't do. But Liv Morgan is on a tear right now. And I thought Raquel really raised her game during that. So that's just why I thought it was a bit wishy-washy. But the more people Lyra Valkyria can take on, the better. And her taking on Raquel is great, right? Because it's a totally different matchup for her. And Raquel is very, very good, and Lyra Valkyria is great. So I didn't mind that. It's just, let's get some tag team matches going. I mean, you could argue, yeah, we got ages till WrestleMania, so we can do it whenever. But that's just what I want to see. I can't help it. And Chad Gable coming back as the mysterious luchador, maybe. We don't know. We did see somebody else in that mask get arrested later on. I just love it. Is the New Day taking on Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio? He comes out, he whips the good guy's ass. New Day don't care, they take advantage. We need to see where it's going to go, because at one point, I mean, Rey Fenix may be coming in soon to do something with Penta, who is taking on Ludwig Kaiser next week. We had a video for that. But the Chad Gable thing could end with Malachi/Aleister Black being involved, just because he did mention the dark arts of Lucha Libre when he left, and I do believe that Aleister Black's training school is called Dark Arts or something like that. I don't know, but I think this is going somewhere. But Chad Gable is a hero as far as I'm concerned. He is we can call him the next Kurt Angle. I don't think that's doing him a disservice. I don't think that's putting too much pressure on his shoulders. He's incredible in the ring. And his character and his personality. The Shorty G stuff sucked. That was nothing to do with him. That was rubbish old WWE booking, and I hated it. This was funny. This was just arrogant. And the fact that he can sort of blur both lines, I think he's terrific. And I think he should win a singles championship in 2025, and we should push the hell out of him. And I want to know who this other guy was. I was genuinely intrigued. I was like, wait a minute, what are we doing there? And I'm a big fan of everything with Jey Uso. Love the fact we started Raw with a match against Grayson Waller. Austin Theory was there. They would continue the longest breakup of all time. Maybe they are going to have a match at WrestleMania 41. But Jey Uso, he just got the victory. Then he whipped both their asses, and of course Gunther sneaks in and gave him, as I said on Ups and Downs, the most aggressive sleeper you've ever seen in your life. But it just works, because again, Gunther is so aggressive. People like to say a lot of nonsense about Jey Uso, but if you think that, more power to you. But I think it's kind of become a little bit of a cliche. It's going to peak at the right time. Once again, we're just filling time. And at WrestleMania, when he does win that world championship, it's going to be a moment. And I think a lot of people are going to be like, I can't believe we got here. That's why I'm so excited about it, because it just goes to show all the good things that the Bloodline did do. And that was mostly it as well. Like, we didn't do anything with the Raw Tag Team Championship. It always upsets me, but I am hoping that the New Day win it. I think the New Day needs something big going down the line. But I did think it was a very, very good episode of Raw, even if we are just basing it on the Rhea stuff and the Seth stuff, or those two segments. And the Cody Rhodes promo. I was a huge fan of the Cody Rhodes promo. But I just felt like this episode was well structured, if that makes sense. It was well planned out. It had a pace to it. I always felt like we were moving to something new, and I always felt like when we got to the end, I was like, oh wow, it's the cage match already. So there was no dilly-dallying, and given that sometimes WWE shows can be super duper long, I'll always take a show where there's no dilly-dallying. And again, yes, next week we go to Europe, and we have to really start, I guess, because everyone is on those shows. I think Roman Reigns has been out to some. John Cena obviously has. CM Punk definitely has. And they're very specific. Like, some people are working certain Raws, and some people are working certain SmackDowns. So the plans are in place, and we're we're going to see them evolve, we're going to see them grow. It would have been amazing even if it was the face-off, the promo-off between John Cena and Cody Rhodes when they were good guys. But the first appearance of John Cena as a bad guy happening in like 6 days' time, and they're not going to hold back here. Again, I can imagine that John Cena's on most shows pre-Mania because that's just what he's like. He gets it, and Cody obviously totally gets it, hence why he's the captain. To use his own words, I think they could lay into each other here. I think they could say some stuff you weren't expecting. Maybe even AEW gets brought up. If anyone has that kind of stroke, it would be a John Cena. I doubt The Rock would be involved, but of course, come WrestleMania time, he will be. So the fact we have that now, and we have the counterpoint that we've got Seth Rollins and Punk doing their thing as well, I think WWE's in a great place right now, and it's exciting to sit down. What are they going to do on Raw? What are they going to do on SmackDown? SmackDown is way too long to me. I think we need to find a way to plug the extra hour a little bit better. But LA Knight did become the US champions. That's pumping up too. So all in all, I'm just enjoying all the content. And given that we had AEW Revolution on the weekend too, you can check out my review. That should be on the screen right now. Wrestling is in a good place. And if it continues this way, 2025 is going to be absolute fire. Hate what you like. You know, there's other thing in the steel cage match too. I said this on Ups and Downs, keep repeating that. But oh man, the superplex wasn't as good as the Spanish Fly. Listen, I shouldn't say this, and I'm going to regret it, and it does make me sound like an a-hole. That's just not understanding wrestling, man. And that's the time you need to go down to a training center and just try a normal suplex, and then a normal superplex. You'll be like, what? It's the most terrifying thing ever. It's the fact that anyone is doing anything in this guide, especially someone like CM Punk and Seth Rollins. They don't have to do that, although Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher didn't need to do either. What's the word I'm looking for? The moving of the barrier, the taking these risks. Respect all around, as far as I'm concerned. And yes, Macaulay Culkin, I suppose we should talk about as well. I think that was his third appearance this year on Raw, which does mean he's appeared more than Roman Reigns. I think that is true. But Roman Reigns has earned it, man, because look what happens when he does turn up. The world stops, everybody's talking about him, and he's the most over guy ever. Now, anyway, like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell, the notification bell. Click the video on the screen. Again, Pro Wrestling Tees or simonmiller.bigcartel.com for this. Otherwise, if you're into your fitness supplements, my gosh, go to GorillaMind.com/Simon now. 25% off until the end of the week, so you absolutely want to take advantage of that. Ships worldwide. I use these supplements. I think they are the best. Simon316 on social media. Simon Miller on Cameo. Simon J. Miller on TikTok. And we talked about Pro Wrestling Tees and done merchandise. Any way you can support me is massively appreciated. I appreciate you. I am back after a week off. The videos are a bit wishy-washy the last 7 days, so I do apologize. So we get back into a proper routine. I apologize for my voice as well. It's absolutely killing me to do these videos, but we're not going to stop. That's the life of a content creator. I appreciate you, my friends. Keep enjoying wrestling, and I'll see you soon.